All right, so let's talk about what is English 102 all about. So no doubt you have seen that this is multimodal composition. What does that mean? So multimodality is this idea of materials and communication that occur beyond just text. So you're probably accustomed to a writing class where you're assigned an essay or you're assigned a research paper, and you write down some stuff, submit it to your teacher, get a grade. We are still doing a fair amount of that, but as we do that, we are also looking at what are the ways that people talk with each other or communicate ideas through visual means or through audio, through gestures, and as we're doing that, we want to think about how do those different modes of communication affect the message. So for example, I'm doing these videos. A big part of the reason I do these is because I can gesture, and so you can see how I'm emphasizing my words. It also gives you a chance to see my face, hear my voice, see that I am a person rather than just some ephemeral ghost on the other side of a computer screen. And to me, that's really important because I want you to feel an actual connection with this class. Even though we are online, it is important for you to feel that this is actually important, because it is. And so your next question might be, well, how is this multimodal thing important? Well, a big part of what we look at is how does communication affect the ways that people interact, right? So for example, in our first assignment, we are looking having a discussion about Dr. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream. And his speech had a tremendous impact on the United States. It helped, galvanize the civil rights movement, helped continue that trajectory, and it's left a lasting impression that we teach in schools to this day. But one of the problems with how we teach it is that we often teach it to younger students, younger children. There's not much follow-up. We don't really consider the full context of the speech. Typically schools might dedicate a week around Martin Luther King Day to talk about this, with second, third, fourth, fifth graders. And because of this, not everyone gets a sense of why the speech mattered, and also a sense of in what ways did the format of the speech change its impact. So what I mean by this is, the fact that it was televised. People all across the country and around the world were able to see this speech. Additionally, there were, tens of thousands of people packed in front of the Lincoln Memorial in person to see Dr. King speak. The images of that crowd just by itself sent a message. It showed people around the world that there were large numbers of people in the United States who cared enough to fly and drive all the way to Washington, D.C. to support the civil rights movement. That level of visual support for a movement has a tremendous impact. Now, if all those visitors had attended the speech, but there was no video evidence of their attendance, would people have noticed as much? Would people have cared as much? That's one of those questions we don't know the answer to, but that's one of the things we want to speculate on. That's one of the things we want to think about when we talk about multimodality, when we talk about communication. To what degree do our means of communication affect the ways that the message gets across? Now, along with that, as I mentioned, we are going to be doing a lot of writing. We're going to be doing a lot of research. And the goal, my goal for you is that by the time you are done with English 102, you will feel comfortable finding good sources, describing whether or not those sources are useful, whether or not they are reliable, um, and that you'll feel comfortable citing those sources as you write about them. So with this class, what I really want to emphasize with the papers is that as long as you are hitting the right word count, as long as you are getting the right number and type of sources, and as long as you are citing those sources correctly, if you do those three things really well, then you will do fine in this course. All right, you are almost guaranteed a B if you hit all three of those things on every assignment. The second thing I want to emphasize is that I do not expect you to understand every concept as we go. A big part of this class is learning to write. If you already knew all of the things, I wouldn't need to teach them. You wouldn't need this class. And so it is my expectation that some of these assignments will feel confusing. It is my expectation that these concepts will feel unfamiliar. And what I want you to do is to just power through. There's this phrase we used in the Army, and I'm sure you've heard it. It's fake it till you make it. And what I mean by that is, do the best writing you can, even if that writing doesn't feel good, even if that writing doesn't feel effective, even if it doesn't feel like your paper is very good or something like that. The more writing you do, the better you will get. The more research, the more reading, the more work that you put in, the better you will get. And like I said, I am not looking for perfection in this class. I am looking for effort. I am looking for learning. As long as you are putting in the effort, then you will be learning. And as long as you are learning, you'll do well in this course and become a better writer. So with that, if you have any questions about what English 102 is about, or how multimodality works, or any of the rhetorical concepts we'll be discussing, please let me know. And with that, I'm going to sign off.